All right, well, we're back for our third segment. We're extremely excited about what's going on out here. Again, as you can see, we're coming down into the last days here at Park City for the P2W Summit. But we wanted to make sure that we got to this next segment. I know we talked about it in the previous segment just a little bit, which was kind of exciting. We're talking about through the wall.
Through the wall. Yep.
And that was and this is one of our favorite stories because obviously we can cater this really multiple of ways.
Yep.
But it's so practical in today's deal. I mean, especially even probably more so today than what it was even when we first started businesses 10 years ago.
Yes.
Because of all the different ways to infiltrate a business. Now they got it on lockdown. You got IT teams, you got gatekeepers, you got so on and so forth. So, anyways, through the wall, I'm going to let Lynn kind of tell you the story behind through the wall, and then also explain how this applies to your business and your marketing techniques and your sales techniques.
All right, yeah. So through the wall, the story. I know you've been waiting, anxiously waiting for this story. So my brother was a college football coach. Now, he coached receivers, but he had buddies that were offensive linemen. And so they got him to come over one night, and you got these huge offensive linemen, guys that are like 300 pounds. My brother's like 5'8", 160. He is, but they told him about this thing called through the wall, going through the wall.
Right.
And so they introduced him to it. So what they did basically, there was 4 of them. They ordered 16 large pizzas. And they had 4 pizzas for each guy.
Unbelievable.
And the whole deal was you had to eat all the pizzas in one setting. So through the wall. So my brother's he says he gets through the first pizza barely, and the second pizza he's barely getting through it. And so all these big linemen, they're like, through the wall, through the wall, and they're going crazy. And so he finally his mental. It was a mental thing. He just broke the barrier there, the mental barrier, and then he just started eating pizza. He said he was just he's just eating, chomping away, and he's one piece after another. And he actually ate 4 large pizzas in one setting.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Now he said he paid for it for like a week after that.
Sure, he couldn't use the restroom.
Exactly. But he went through the wall.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're talking about here is through the wall, because there's walls, there's barriers.
Right.
And those barriers, a lot of times we're like, I can't do anymore. I've done all I can do. Have you really?
Right.
It's a mental thing.
That's
so you can break through the wall. So we're here to say, through the wall. Through the wall.
So he was technically man versus food before man versus food.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And it really is. And the thing behind that, which is so good, is that a lot of times it is mental.
Yeah.
It is mental. So our bodies obviously are designed to tell us to shut down. Right. But at the end of the day, it becomes a threshold that you have to break through.
Yeah.
And that's that wall. And so when we talk about walls in businesses, we're talking about the gatekeepers, the ability to get through to the decision makers, the individuals that maybe were interested in your product, were impulsive, wanted to buy now, but we couldn't really sell it to them now, or we weren't in the position to sell it to them then. So now we need to follow up with them, and this is what this is all about. Because I'll tell you, 99% of it is about following up. I mean, if you can close the sale on the first call, that's a win all the way around. But point being is that it's about the follow up. It's about the follow through.
Yeah.
And it's about getting through the wall.
Exactly.
And so that's what this is really all about. It's about empowering you to understand there's multiple of ways to get through the wall. And I mean, obviously today as well is that it's a lot more difficult because of all the noise in this space.
Right.
I mean, we've got multiple of ways to get through now. And so what's happened is everybody's kind of locked down their schedules. They protect their time.
Yep.
Right? And that's the biggest thing with this is that being able to give somebody the reason to give you a sliver of their time. And that's the other thing is that we all have the same amount of time in a day. And so now that you've got to be able to ask yourself is, would you give that person that amount of time? Right? And so these are the things that we're talking about with Through the Wall is we want to share with you some techniques and some how-tos to be able to effectively get you through the wall.
Through the wall.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so if you haven't noticed by now, we've got 3 simple bullet points that we always try to give you, some action items, some simple steps, nothing too difficult, right?
1, 2, 3.
But action, right? So what was the first one there?
So first one is think outside the box. And so when we got to thinking about this, it was kind of like, what can I do to get through the wall? Or am I just approaching it the same way every time, and it's limiting me? I've got a barrier. I can't get past the gatekeeper. The guy's put me off. He's delayed, stall tactics. We all understand that. How do I get past that? Well, you got to get creative.
Yeah.
You got to think outside the box. You got to do what other people are not doing to make that and to break through the barrier, because once you do, the rewards are on the other side. So when we're thinking about kind of creative ideas, and we've got some. We want you to follow the blog, and we want you to send in your creative ideas, but just little stuff. I mean, making sure that you're doing what other people are not doing, and that is, being creative, calling or sending something to them, sending it FedEx or certified mail, because it's going to go past the gatekeeper, and the decision maker will get that, and all of a sudden it is, I'm going to call you at 2 here. I've always bring something of value when you're doing that, but that's way outside the box.
And I think to kind of go back on what I was just saying a little bit ago, exactly what Lynn is saying as well, is that it's about asking yourself the question that if you sent or tried the approach to get in to speak with somebody, ask yourself if that same approach would work on you. And if the answer is no, then obviously it's not going to work for them. If you're a small business and you're trying to get into somebody who's a decision maker in a larger business, you've got to understand they've probably seen that tactic and some other ones as well. But I will assure you that through this process, through the platform, through the things that Lynn and I have been through, we've got some really, really creative ways of getting you through the wall. Creative. Maybe a Trojan horse, for example, right? I mean, that was a unique way of getting through the wall. Exactly. But we've got Trojan horse follow-up techniques that you're going to have within our blog and our inner circle that we want to be able to share with you. So there's some exciting things about that. So again, it's about the first one, is thinking outside the box. Wow, it's been a long 3 days, but it's been great, though, right? The second one is setting the expectations. Yep. And I always say that conflict resides between reality and reality and expectations. There it is. Reality and expectations. I apologize. Reality and expectations. The reason being is that the farther they are apart, the larger the conflict.
Exactly.
Right? So if you don't tell your prospect what you're going to do, they can't expect it. Right? Sure. And that's the thing. And so they're not going to be prepared to do it. So we always tell people as well is that people say they don't like to be told what to do, but the bitter reality of it is, psychologically, people love to be told what to do.
They do.
So the thing is that tell them what you're going to do to them before you actually do it. That's the biggest thing with this.
Right.
So if you're going to call them and you get their voicemail, and you say to them, I'm going to call you next Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Consistency, right? You got to make sure that you do it, because why? You're telling them what you're going to do. And what's going to happen is over time, you're going to keep doing this. You're going to keep doing this. And they're going to come to expect it at this point. That's an expectation.
Right.
If you tell them you're going to call at 2, but you don't call till at 2 on Tuesday, but you don't call till Wednesday, now they're questioning your character. Yeah. They're questioning your company. They're questioning your integrity. I mean, so the thing is, tell them what you're going to do and do it. Whether you get a hold of them or not, it could take you 6 months. It could take you a year. It could take you 2 years. But I'll tell you, they know that every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you're calling. And that's the beauty behind setting the expectation. You always have to tell them what you're going to do to them.
Yeah, and if you don't follow through with what you tell them, you disqualify yourself. So don't be your own worst enemy.
Right.
You be your own ally. You do exactly what you say, and all of a sudden they have a concept, a perception of you as that guy.
Right.
The guy that's, he's persistent, he's creative, he or she is. They're the ones that I can count on, and all of a sudden they begin the psychology in it. I can count on this person.
I've had people tell me, like, look, I'm going to give you the business, so you just stop calling me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, we love your persistence.
Yeah.
It's not an annoying call. It's not one of those things, but we love that, right?
Yeah.
Which leads us into bullet point 3.
Bullet point 3.
Which is the Chinese water torture.
Water torture, the stuff of movies or something more. Torture victim counselor Gerald Gray has certainly heard of it.
It's a process by which the prisoner is immobilized and slow drips of water are dropped onto their head. For how long, I can't say. I'm not sure what's considered an effective use of the torture.
To test if and how drips become powerful persuaders, the Mythbusters have 2 experiments in mind.
It's really a method, but it's really about consistency. It's about persistence. It's about, if you don't know what Chinese water torture is, it's very similar to watching water drop on a rock over a long period of time. even though that rock is solid and water is obviously it's liquid, right?
Right.
What it will do is it will deteriorate that rock away. It'll chip away at it. Well, imagine if Chinese water torture, right, is the same similar thing, but it's a way of actually doing it to a human being to get them to talk.
Yeah.
That, you know, imagine if you had a water dripping on your forehead every 30 seconds and you had to do that for 48 hours.
Right.
First of all, it would probably hurt.
It would hurt, yeah.
And it would just be annoying, right? We don't want you to be annoying, but the thing that does is it's consistent. It's persistent. It's about constantly knocking on the door, constantly sending an email, constantly following up. It's persistence and consistency, because that right there, it's the action steps.
Yeah.
And it's the action steps that's going to develop the relationships and the traction that you're going to get in your business. Without consistency and without persistence, you can't expect the sale. So the thing is, you can't expect it, right? So I'm going to set the expectation for you. I'm going to tell you that if you do this, if you follow these steps, right, you will close sales. Plain and simple. Just doing these alone, you will close sales, because it's consistency. It's persistence. Would you agree?
I would agree. Your persistence will take you through the wall.
Yep, take you through the wall.
Through the barriers.
Right.
Into the land of opportunity.
Right, absolutely.
Into where the money is.
So we strongly suggest that you comment below, right? We want your feedback. We want your questions. We're going to answer them to the, as quickly as we possibly can. And this is how we're going to continue to build our series on you, what you guys need, what you're looking for, what are the things that you're running up against, the barriers, and then also share your ideas that have worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all about iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
That's what it's really about, right? It's about being able to sharpen the others around you, and that's the reason why Lynn and I have put together P2W, is to be able to share with other business owners the things that we have learned through the School of Hard Knocks, baptism by fire, scraping our knees, as well as through mentors as well. I think that that's the best thing about this, is that, so we want to make sure that we're passing that on and sharing it with you as well. Do you agree?
I would agree. So,
all right,
we're going through the wall. And the next one,
value propositions.
Yes, you're going to like this one. I'm telling you.
This is the one that really, this is what does it all. So
this is
really
the money point.
It
right
is.
Here.
Absolutely. So again, till next time, thank you.
All right. Bye. We're back again.
Again. And I got to tell you, we're going to stop before we can get started. This is like the fourth outtake of this one.
It is.
So anyways, we're really primed.
We had some really aggressive photo bombers, and so we decided they didn't need to be in the deal. So this is privilege,
This is privilege. All right. So the fourth.